This story is called Bedroom Frolics. Sooty, Sweep and Sue were up to something. Matthew was convinced of it. They had been put to bed an hour ago, yet he was sure he could hear them talking and giggling in their bedroom. He crept up the stairs and listened outside the bedroom door. Nothing. Quietly opening the door, he peeped in. The three of them were under their blankets, fast asleep. Or were they? He tiptoed into the room and gently prodded the shapes. Yes, they were asleep all right. He silently closed the door and went downstairs again. "I must have been hearing things," he said as he sat down and resumed reading his book. A few minutes passed, then suddenly he heard the patter of tiny feet on the ceiling above him. Sooty's bedroom was directly above where he was sitting. "That's it! I've caught them this time," he said, as he jumped up and dashed up the stairs. As he burst into their bedroom, he said, "Gotcha!" But Sooty, Sweep and Sue were each in their beds, fast asleep. Or were they? Matthew turned on the light. Yes, there were definitely three shapes under the blankets, one in each bed. Matthew was puzzled. He was sure he'd heard someone walking across the floor of their bedroom, but it couldn't have been Sooty, Sweep or Sue, as they were fast asleep. Or were they? Turning out the light, Matthew quietly closed the door and crept down the stairs. "My ears must be playing tricks on me," he muttered to himself. He sat in his chair once more and began reading his book. A few more minutes passed, then he heard a loud bump. But by now he wasn't sure whether he was imagining these strange noises. Then he heard someone laughing. There was no mistaking it, that was definitely Sue's laugh. "Right," he said, getting up and running up the stairs. "They're for it now." He threw open the door to their bedroom, turned on the light and said, "Okay, you three, you can't fool me. What's going on?" Nobody answered. He could still see the three shapes. Sooty, Sweep and Sue were fast asleep. Or were they? Matthew decided to investigate further. He went up to Sooty's bed and gently pulled the blanket to one side. What he saw caused him to jump back in amazement. Sooty wasn't there. What was there was one of Sue's dolls. He'd better check the other beds, he thought, as he recovered from the shock. Crossing to Sue's bed, he tugged off the blanket. Sue wasn't there either. In her place lay a large balloon. "This is awful," Matthew thought. "I'd better check Sweep's bed." So doing, he went over to Sweep's bed and pulled back the covers. A pile of bones occupied the place where Sweep should have lain. This was terrible. Had Sooty been bear-napped? Had Sue been panda-napped? Had Sweep been dog-napped? They must have been. After all, they weren't there. Or were they? Matthew began to smell a rat, and a bear, and a panda, and a dog. He glanced down at the floor. Wasn't that a bear's paw he could see sticking out from under Sooty's bed? And wasn't that a panda's ear he could see sticking out from under Sue's bed? And wasn't that a dog's tail he could see sticking out from under Sweep's bed? It was. And it was. And it was. And wasn't that a little giggle he could hear from beneath Sooty's bed? Then another, and another. "I think I know what's going on here," Matthew said to himself. "Well, we can all play that game." Out loud, so Sooty, Sweep and Sue could hear, Matthew said, "I'd better go and put on my glasses. I can't see Sooty, Sweep and Sue anywhere." Matthew left the room, closing the door behind him. He listened outside the door and heard Sooty, Sweep and Sue scrambling into their beds, still giggling at their little joke. After a moment or two, he started stamping his feet, pretending he was climbing the stairs. He opened the door and entered Sooty's bedroom. As he'd expected, Sooty and Sweep and Sue were now safely tucked up in their beds, pretending to be fast asleep. "Let me see. Oh, Sooty is in his bed," said Matthew. "And so is Sue. And so is Sweep. Dear, 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 my eyes are getting worse. I shall have to go and have them tested tomorrow. Fancy me thinking they weren't asleep." As he closed the door and turned out the light, he heard them chuckling, and he heard Sue saying, "That was a good trick we played on Matthew, wasn't it?" Was it indeed, thought Matthew. He had a plan. The following morning, Sooty, Sweep and Sue came bounding into Matthew's bedroom. Matthew was still in bed under the blankets. Or was he? "Come on, lazybones, rise and shine," said Sooty. Matthew didn't answer. He could see his shape under the blankets, so he must be fast asleep. Or was he? "Come along, Matthew, time to get up," said Sweep. Still no reply. "This will wake him up," said Sue as she whisked the blankets from his bed. Well, do you know, they almost fainted from the shock. Matthew wasn't there. What Sooty, Sweep and Sue thought was Matthew under the blankets was, in fact, a pile of overcoats. Where, then, was Matthew? "Perhaps he's downstairs making breakfast," suggested Sooty. As they raced out of the bedroom and down the stairs, Matthew quietly stepped out of the wardrobe and climbed into bed. Chuckling to himself, he started to read his book. Judging by the noises he could hear, it was clear that Sooty, Sweep and Sue were looking everywhere for him. After about 10 minutes, he heard them hurrying up the stairs, and as they ran into his bedroom, he greeted them. Good morning, Sooty, Sweep and Sue." The three of them stopped in their tracks. "But you're in bed," they said. "Of course I'm in bed. Where did you expect to find me?" "In the wardrobe," Matthew said, laughing. "But we couldn't see you before," said Sweep. "Yes," said Matthew, "just like I couldn't see you lot in bed last night. Perhaps all of us need our eyes testing." Well, Sooty, Sweep and Sue realized that Matthew had seen through their little trick and was now paying them back. They all started to laugh, and Matthew joined in. He knew that they had meant no harm, and that they wouldn't be likely to try the same trick ever again. Or would they?